Thank you, Mr. Chairperson, DG elected, independent chairperson of the Council, honorable ministers, vice ministers, executive director of WFP, chairpersons of Commissions 1 and 2, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Let me start by thanking all of you very much for taking part of this 41st FAO conference. Attendance has been at record levels. During the week, 192 out of 194 FAO member countries have been represented. This is a record of participant of members in FAO conference ever. We have also welcomed high-level representatives from many international organizations and regional bodies. I have been particularly happy to see the presence of many people from civil society partners, NGOs, and private sector. I would like to think that this high attendance is indicative of the value that you place on FAO. It also reflects the growing realization of the important role that food and agriculture must play in attainment of the 23rd Agenda for Sustainable Development. Many of the major issues related to healthy food system, sustainable agricultural development, and responsible environment can only be addressed through joint work between countries and relevant partners. Solutions to most of these interconnected challenges also require an institutional capacity to orchestrate intersectoral response, drawing on a diverse range of skills. FAO has the comparative advantage of being a neutral forum, convening its members and engaging its partners in addressing issues with transboundary dimensions, as well as furnishing the necessary expertise. In a world in which tensions between nations and ideologies undermine progress towards a better future, you have set aside your difference. And over the past 10 days, you have helped to make FAO more effective in responding to the many demands of our future work. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, you have elected Dr. Xu Dongyu as my successor as Director-General of FAO, and you have approved our program of work and budget for the 2021 biennium. Dr. Xu, I congratulate you once more on your appointment, and let me also express a very warm welcome to you and your team. I must tell you that Dr. Xu has accepted our invitation to join FAO, IFAD, UNICEF, and WHO in the launching of our SOFI 2019 during the high-level political forum, middle of July in New York. He will also join us, the heads of the Rome-based agents, in the meeting with the Secretary General to present the proposal for a food summit for 2021. I welcome also the attention given by members to strengthen result-based management in our PWB, as well as align even further our programs to the Sustainable Development Goals. Ladies and gentlemen, in my opening remarks at the beginning of the conference, I observed that our members are constantly asking us to broaden the scope of our activities, but have never matched their demands with increased contribution in the PWB. I do not want to dwell further on this matter, but simply share the idea with you that it is perhaps part of a much bigger resource allocation problem that has to be addressed if we really wanted to achieve the SDGs. I am increasingly convinced, for example, that conventional policies aimed at keeping food prices low for consumers are contributing to perpetuate rural poverty and drive internal and external migration, and is not helping to bring hunger numbers down. It also contributes to unhealthy eating and leads to gross underinvestment in sustainable natural resource management. In fact, we need to address the dilemma between cheap, ultra-processed food and the more expensive healthy and fresh food, particularly vegetables and fruits. Governments have to find ways to increase and encourage the consumption of local fresh food, especially to tackle the growing levels of obesity. This could include, for example, taxes on unhealthy food products and more complete and understandable labeling for the consumers. I invite you to consider those issues in your food policies formulations in your own countries. Excellencies, in my first address to members back in 2012, I said that I would not be able to do anything unless we did it together. And working together, we have transformed and strengthened this organization in the last years. I wanted to thank all members for your support and guidance, as well for your criticism over the last 7.5 years. I also wish to express my gratitude to FAO staff for the strength of their commitment to the work of our organization. I am aware that the prolonged period of reform that started before I took office caused some difficulties for some staff and their families. An example of this was the difficult decision to temporarily close the commissary that was no longer in line with the purpose for which it was created. Today, with pleasure, I would like to announce the reopening of the commissary next January 2020 with a new operation model that will guarantee the respect of the agreement between FAO and Italian authorities. We have finished all the negotiations and have already launched the tender to select the company that will be operating it. Ladies and gentlemen, before concluding, allow me to touch a very personal note. I wish to pay my tribute to former President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. He showed the world by example that with commitment, leadership, and clear strategy, nations can quickly reduce the incidence of hunger, and that doing this, we can also accelerate economic growth and reduce inequality. Many countries are following the example of the Zero Hunger program, as we could see in the 5 side events presented during this conference. I hope that President Lula will be soon in conditions to help us again to campaign for zero hunger. I thank you all for the support and for your attention.